My free arm swept across my muscular body, my fingers gently touching responsive skin as my hand glided and slowly lowered itself all the way down past my navel in silent acknowledgement of what I was. He was also responsible for getting me to the point where I could see my feet when I looked down. And looking downwards now, I could also see something stirring when it shouldn't be, just because I was thinking of him touching me down there. I pulled my wandering hand away from my lower abdomen and studiously began washing the sweat and grime from my body, ignoring the standing witness to my fitness and sexuality. I worked out every day to attain and keep the fitness of my body. At first it was because of his orders, but then it was because I liked what I saw and intended to maintain it. Keeping trim and muscular was now a part of my daily routine. After all, it wasn't as if I had anything else to do with my free time. Being a creature of sex was his idea, and I hated it. Most of the time, anyway. Routine. There is nothing wrong with routine. It provides a semblance of order to an otherwise either chaotic or tediously boring day. What am I saying? Day. It's been nothing but a series of unending chaotic events since I met that man. Man? I have known that he wasn't a man since that day I stabbed him. I just couldn't process it right away. I mean, that he was a vampire. These were creatures that my family believed in, and while me, I was a man of reason and science. Really? Bloodsuckers? Walking among us? But I can't deny it now. Not when one of these mythical creatures has been sexing me and drinking from me. I wasn't a virgin when he kidnapped me. Well, yes, technically I was. I hadn't done anything with a man before him, and my one experience with a girl had ended quite disastrously in my sophomore year of college. I mean, I had no idea what to do at the time, so long ago. Just like so many other things in my life that I had been looking forward to when I was younger, I had put sex on the shelf called not going to happen once I started going blind. So yeah, we had done it once, me and that girl, and then I never saw her again. My first sexual experience, other than going solo, has been a one-night stand. Even I know that my performance had been bad. It couldn't be classified as premature ejaculation, but it sure as hell wasn't anything she could have enjoyed. So I wasn't a virgin with a woman, but with a man, yes. If I had been given a choice, I still wouldn't be doing anything with a man. Which, technically I wasn't, because he wasn't a man. He was a vampire. My brain ached. I had to stop thinking about this because it was an almost daily routine also. This thinking of him, and my body reacted even harder. Damn it. I shut off the shower and limped over to the bath, which was the size of a 6-person hot tub. Sinking into the warm water, I dunked my growing erection, thinking that maybe I should have made sure the water was cold, to discourage this involuntary, unwanted reaction to my thoughts of him. I wasn't a slut. I was a victim of Stockholm Syndrome. Yeah, that's it. My body was identifying with my kidnapper. The faint scent of apples I could smell was his personal scent. Apple-scented body wash, apple-scented shampoo, and even apple-scented air freshener. It was a conspiracy by the Brit and his staff to make sure that I never had a moment in my captivity to ignore his existence. I sank down until my shoulders were submerged, then leaned my head back against the edge of the tub, closing my eyes, wondering how long I had been under his thumb. Marcus, the vampire. It had to be months, because he had time not only to reshape my body, but to also fix my eyes as well. Marcus was beginning to take me over by changing my name to my initials, S-E-X, and by resetting my sexual preference. Well, what I thought was my sexual preference before I ended up in that bar on my birthday. Nobody had ever looked at me twice before, or even once, so I really didn't have the chance to find out if I preferred women, or if I only thought I liked women, or whether I was simply refusing to admit that though I could get it up looking at a woman, I only really got hard when I was looking at a sexy, beautiful man. Anyway, at the time of my forced conversion to being intimate with men, whether I wanted it or not, I had weighed 289 pounds, was about as round as I was tall, and was legally blind. I could see, but I had to be up really close with my stereotypical model lenses to peer at whatever I was looking at. I sighed, and stretching an arm out of the bath, I reached for and rolled up a plush hand towel into a tube, setting it behind my neck. When I had been heavy, even the back of my neck had been cushioned with fat. Now that I was thin, I needed the extra cushioning that nice, expensive, thick towel would give when I wanted to lay back in the tub. Growing up, I was a skinny kid. It wasn't until I started going blind in high school that I started to put on weight and grow a nasty personality. I didn't want anyone to look at me, to see the real me. I was lost in my darkening world, and I hated everyone because I was the only one affected. At least that's what I thought then, not realizing that my family was affected by my blindness too. I felt so alone and resented that everyone else could go along with their daily tasks when I couldn't. It was as if the world were picking on me, and my family were leaving me behind in the darkness. The doctors never did come up with an explanation for my failing eyesight, or for the fact that at a certain point it stopped. With thick lenses and very bright light, I could actually get around and function, but not enough to avoid the label, seeing impaired. I was able to live on my own, to get around on my own, and to hold down a boring job because I could see a computer screen if I used a very large font and the room was dark in contrast to the bright computer screen. Ocular degeneration and "we have no real explanation as to why it seems to have stopped just side of your son being completely blind" weren't good enough explanations for me. But that was the best the specialists could do. I wasn't comforted to hear their prognosis.
"Sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Xavier. Your son's blindness is beyond medical explanation."
Shrug of white lab coat shoulders.
"Sorry for your luck, kid."
Sorry for my sorry excuse for a life. Well, sorry just didn't cut it, and I was royally pissed about it. Now that the tub was full, I used my feet to shut the taps off and tried unsuccessfully not to think about that day. That last day that he allowed me to live in the world of sunlight. Hindsight is 20/20. If only I'd done this. If only I'd done that. If only I'd called in sick the way I wanted to that morning. I'd still be a fat, blind punk with a very bad attitude.